Welcome to the Success Sensei Podcast for anyone interested in success, happiness, and balance. We'll teach you how to be a black belt at life. And now, your host, former professional fighter, multiple world champion, entrepreneur, and investor, Robert Devane.
Bowing in. This is Roundhouse Rob, the Success Sensei, helping you to win at life one kick and punch at a time. Episode 95. The Tiger and the Dragon. So, there's a lot of martial arts symbolism with this podcast with the Tiger and the Dragon, but that doesn't mean that you have to have practiced martial arts for you to be able to benefit from some of the things that we're going to talk about, because they're directly attributable to business, to life in general, I suppose. So, the Tiger and the Dragon. Let's pretend, or let's talk about, if you've seen martial arts movies in the past, you will have seen Tiger and Dragon symbolisms in the past. Not so much now. It's more of a, I think, kickboxing and MMA, so there's a little bit of a less of a throwback to Buddhist imagery and traditional martial arts. But certainly when I was growing up doing martial arts, the Tiger and the Dragon was something that was discussed when we were children. And basically the Tiger, for obvious reasons, symbolises the physicality of I suppose young people are somebody that's taken up martial arts for the first time. That physicality, obviously it's linked to ego, and linked to power. So strength and power and physicality and ego. It's the stage when people take up boxing or kickboxing or martial arts and mixed martial arts for the first time. They feel empowered, they feel a sense of confidence. It is linked to ego, whether positive or negative. It is linked to ego, because they can feel that their physicality increases, their strength increasing, their power increasing. So I think to become a dragon, everybody needs to be a tiger at some stage, or needs to experience what it's like to be a tiger. So some martial artists never leave the tiger phase, and one of the drawbacks to being a tiger, I mean, if I was to be totally truthful and totally honest, as a tiger, I think, looking back in your younger days, when you're first experiencing martial arts and you're first experiencing the physicality of it, and your confidence growing / arrogance, and you're nearly hoping that somebody picks a fight with you so you can practice all these new found skills and techniques that you're working on. Now, obviously, I'm not recommending that, and I'm not condoning that, and that mindset is wrong, but it enters a tiger's mind, is that they're nearly hoping for a physical altercation so that they can use some of the power and strength that they're working on. Now, a dragon, on the other hand, is the same as an evolved tiger, but an emotionally balanced animal. If a dragon is an animal, a fictitious animal. So strong physically, yes, so still got the strength of the tiger, but also strong mentally. So there's a bit more spirituality with a dragon. Now, the story of a dragon is less likely. A dragon is less likely to be in a physical altercation. A dragon would rather, what you hear the stories of, it's better to walk away. Well, a dragon is that person. A dragon is more willing to walk away from a potential physical altercation. And no, not as a sign of weakness. See, this is the thing. A dragon should be as capable of a tiger as a tiger, if not better, because they've been practicing he or her have been practicing martial arts for a hell of a lot longer. So you should still have the physical skills, but also, the emotional balance. So there's a lot of people would say, that, I'd rather walk away from a fight. And we all know that it's because they're just terrified and they can't actually fight. They have no skills in the first place. So a true dragon isn't making those kind of excuses, but they know the repercussions of physical altercations. They don't want to get themselves to that place. They certainly don't want to hurt anybody if it's not strictly necessary line of defense. They don't want to use their skills. So a dragon is the opposite to a tiger. A dragon is not looking for a physical altercation, is not looking to prove themselves to themselves or to anybody else. Also, another thing I'd like to add about a dragon is they do understand the finer points. So, I mean, maybe when I spent many years as a tiger, many years as a tiger, a lot of my competitive phase, my competitive martial arts, I most certainly embraced being a tiger. And maybe a part of me thought that a dragon was just something that was sold to us by the older instructors to try to give them a way out of not being as physical as those of us who are wanting to compete. I mean, now that I'm an older martial artist, or a little bit older, obviously I think I'm very young, but I'm not as young as I used to be. So I do find myself siding with the dragon more now than with the tiger. And you know, why the competitive drive in me hasn't gone. It's nice to think that there is something else to aspire to over and above the physicality. I do think that eventually everybody wants to become a dragon. So it's the same in business. I do think an older, more experienced fighter sparring, they might not have the same speed as a younger fighter, but if you spar with somebody who has a lot of experience and somebody who's older than you, they do things differently. They can be craftier for sure. They can have better timing. They can have better tricks. They can have closer movements. They don't waste as much wide swinging movements. They don't waste as much energy. They can be more calculating. They can not give in to their own ego. It's certainly a higher evolved place than you know, this just purely power, purely strength, ego driven. Now, a dragon, by the way, in Western culture is very different to a dragon in Eastern culture. I mean, in Eastern culture, a dragon is seen as being very strong and very, very spiritual. I think in Western culture, a dragon is seen as something evil or you know, something malevolent. So it's not that, and it's considered wise in Eastern culture. So when you see the symbolism, especially with the yin yang symbol, they need to coexist. So they're kind of the opposite of each other. They might be mortal enemies, but they also kind of need to coexist. But so what does this mean for you and me, for everybody else? Well, it just means that don't solely be a tiger. It means that be a more higher evolved human being with the traits of a tiger, being able to call on the traits of a tiger should you have to, but don't use the tiger physicality and ego and power to be your first go-to move. And some people never get to be a dragon. Some people walk around with a chip on their shoulder and try to be a dragon a tiger all their lives, and try to put on that kind of a front. And then others, as I said, will eventually become the dragon, or maybe somewhere in between. It would be a nice mix as well. So even for business, you know, the decisions that you make, your early investing strategy. If you go to somebody and they analyze that you're, you know, what kind of an investor you are, they generally will check out what kind of they'll do a risk assessment and see what appetite for risk you have. Generally, when you're earlier, you can take more risk because you have more time ahead of you. And as you get a little bit older, your risk profile kind of decreases, and you want to make less risk and more, you know, sure guesses. So that's in business as well as in investing. You'll see the tiger and dragon philosophies as well. So it's something to think about. I don't know if you ever watched the old Kung Fu series, and that's going back a bit now, but you'd see people getting the I think he was branded in it with a dragon and tiger on each forearm, and you'll see some of the old school martial artists will be rocking the dragon and tiger tattoos on their forearms to symbolize this. I mean, it can symbolize other things as well. It can symbolize, you know, the good version of yourself, the bad version of yourself, the version of yourself that lashes out, the version of yourself that is more cool and calculating. It can mean different things to different people, but certainly have a look at it. Next time you see a dragon and a tiger, hopefully you won't think of it the same way, and you might even delve into it a little bit further yourself in your own path, and give yourself something to aspire to in the future. If you are rocking around as a tiger, it might give you something to think about in the future, becoming a dragon. So hopefully that's given you some food for thought, or given you something to think about for the future. Thank you for listening. I'm Roundhouse Rob, the Success Sensei. Life is a fight you can enjoy and win. Bowing out.
This This has been the Success Sensei, fighting the winning fight. So add us, subscribe, like, and comment. Keep those hands up and keep moving forward.